Hey everyone, it's Lee from MyProductiveMac here with another video where I cover an application that I use regularly as part of my toolkit. And for more videos like this, of course, please like and subscribe. So today it's CleanMyMac X from MacPaw. And why do I use this app? Well, it helps keep my Mac running smoothly. It's got a great interface for things like uninstalling applications, checking system resources and freeing them up, and so much more. And I'm going to run through what it does for you today. So first, of course, where can you get it? How much does it cost? Well, you can get it from the MacPaw store at macpaw.com, and there's different pricing options depending on how many Macs that you license it for. And if you're lucky, you can get hold of it on a sale. Now, alternatively, as MacPaw are the brains behind Setup, it is, of course, available as part of a Setup subscription, and that will cost you just under $10 per month. Right, once installed and you've granted CleanMyMac permission to access your system, this is your home screen. And because I use pretty much every element here at some point, I'm going to cover them all. So at the top here, we've got a smart scan. And this carries out a quick and easy scan of your system to identify some easy wins for freeing up storage, ensuring that you're protected and making sure that your system can run a little bit quicker if needed. And then below that, we've got sections for cleanup, we've got protection, section for speed, for managing applications and files. And that covers both identifying what files you have so that you can prune them, as well as securely deleting with the shredder. Then up here in the top right, we've got the assistant. And this gives you some quick links to tools in CleanMyMac that may be worth your attention. So really, it's a bit like a smart summary of where you are. I can see that I can uninstall 2 apps here, for example, that I haven't used in ages. And there's 13 apps waiting to be updated. And there's also a summary down here of how CleanMyMac has performed since it was installed. I'm going to go ahead though and start off this smart scan. Okay, it started and we can see it progressing there. It's currently checking what files can be easily deleted. It's looking for protection issues and anything that we can do to speed this machine up. Right, the scan is done. So what do we have? Well, I'm clearly not looking after this machine properly. As you can see, I've got just over 120 gig of data that I can free up. And if I click review details, it's not actually that bad. It's sitting in the trash because I had a bit of a cull of some stuff last week and it's still waiting to disappear. Now, if I don't want any of these deleted over here on the right, then I can uncheck and the overall size on the left-hand side drops. And there's also some system junk that's been identified. And if I click on that, then on the right, we can see how exactly that has been broken down. And again, I can uncheck these, as well as click on the chevron over here to break this open and see what's included. And I can uncheck those if I need to as well. And also anything that is listed here in these CleanMyMac results can be sorted either by size or name, and they can be ascending or descending. I'm going to come back to the summary. And if I want to carry out this cleanup, I can click on run. I'm not going to though, because we're going to carry out some other scans down here. So let's look at the cleanup section first. And the smart scan did pick up most of this, but the results were a little bit more lightweight. On the right, we can see what the scan is going to do. Then I'll click the scan button down here. And because I haven't executed the results of the smart scan, it's asking if I want to abort it, which, yeah, I will do. And the scan's complete. Let's review the details. Well, there we are. This is a little bit easier to see. So on the left, we can check and uncheck these sections to include them in the cleanup. There's also a search field in lots of these results that allows you to pinpoint something that perhaps you were looking for. Then, to run this, click clean. Right, next we have mail attachments. So this is going to remove mail attachments from your Mac, especially those annoying image files that are stored in signatures that can really fill up quickly. And there's not actually too much here. Over here, you can break these open, see what's in there if you wish, and perhaps uncheck anything that you wanted to save. And again, just click the button to be able to execute this cleanup. But then finally, over here on the left, we have the trash bin. So if we scan this, and indeed, as we saw earlier, I've got a lot that needs emptying. So Electra is my external drive that I use for recording. And I did empty it recently, but there is still a hidden trash folder on there, as we can see. So I actually thought all of these were gone. These are old screencast online videos that I have transferred to my NAS. I don't need them on my external drive anymore. And if I wanted to clear this, I could just click empty. You can change the drive up here to see what's in there. But you do have to be careful if you do this though. Just because I've got this highlighted doesn't mean that it's the only drive that will be emptied if I press this button. Anything with a checkbox selected will go. So if I uncheck both of these, just my Gmail trash container would be emptied. But if I do check this, I'll keep my trash on the Electra device. And that's not taken too long to empty that. I've saved a load of space. Happy days. Let's move into the protection stuff now. So malware removal. And despite what people say, you can get bad stuff on your Mac. Now, this lets you know when you last carried out a scan as well, which for me was yesterday here. So I'm not expecting anything to come out of a scan now, but I'm going to run one anyway. And sure enough, it's clean. In fact, maybe I'm lucky, but I've never seen this actually come up with any kind of a negative result. So next, we move to privacy. And this can let you clear your browsing history across all of your browsers at once. And because I've got Safari open, it does need to close it in order to scan it properly. And what do we have here? Well, it's not just browsing history that you can track here. If you've given applications permission to anything on your Mac through system preferences, they're listed here as well. So under accessibility, if I expand, we can see that I've granted all of these apps access, and I can revoke them from here as well. Same down here for screen recording. All of these apps are able to record the screen. And of course, I had to give them explicit permission to do this when they were installed. So you can just check one or some of these and then remove to remove them. Now your browsers that you have in use are going to be down here, and you can check them to remove things like cookies. And as ever, just expand to look at some more detail if you want. Now my browsing history is already clear, and I can check the information button just to get clarification of that. And you can also use the privacy section of CleanMy Mac to trim through some of the Wi-Fi networks that you build up over the years. You can show them, you can check them, and come down to remove them. I do need to enter my password to process this. And that one has gone. Into speed now. And let's take a look at optimization first. And this is where you can get a handle on what's running, what starts up when your Mac starts up. So there's no scan needed here, you just need to view. And we've got 4 items on the left. We've got login items, we've got launch agents, we've got hung applications and heavy consumers. Those bottom 2 are empty at the moment, but this is a dynamic list and they may have entries in them as we work. So login items will of course list all of the items that log in automatically when you log into macOS, and you can enable or disable them individually here as you like. And as I enable them, I get notifications of course from the system to let me know that they've been enabled to log in once more. Now our launch agents and daemons are listed here, and exactly the same principle applies. And as I said, heavy consumers is dynamic and it's now got an entry. So ScreenFlow helper that I used to record, I could check this to shut it down. Then the video will be finished a little bit early, so I'm going to leave that open. And any apps that need force quitting because they've hung will of course be listed in hung applications. Okay, across to maintenance. And this is simply a list of scripts that you can check, then execute at the bottom. Just click on each one of them to get a description of exactly what that script does, and then check as many or as few as you need. And I usually try and run these every couple of weeks. Into applications now, an uninstaller is where you can go to safely uninstall apps. They're listed into some useful sections here. So we've got unused, we've got leftovers from previous uninstallations. I can see apps installed from the App Store here and also from Setup below that. And then in the App Store, which ones are Mac apps and which ones are actually iOS, because this is a Silicon Mac. Then apps from different vendors are down here. Now, more often than not, you're going to know the name of the application that you want to uninstall. So come up to the search bar, type the name in, and then you can check it and come down to uninstall. Or indeed, you can click this drop down here, which gives you an option to reset the app back to its default installation settings, which is useful sometimes. Next, we have the updater. And this is where you can manage all of your application updates. So I can see here already that macOS Ventura hasn't been updated to 13.4 yet. I'm still on 13.2.1, which I'm happy with. I can click on the individual applications here and see what's covered in the update. And if I want it, then I can check, then update. And the update takes place. You can go back by clicking review remaining items and then run any more if you like. Now into extensions, which is where, of course, you're going to manage extensions that have been installed for the system and for applications. Now, I don't actually have too many of these. There's just the one Spotlight extension here. And then these Safari extensions, they can't be managed or uninstalled from here, because if I click the info button, we can see that they're part of a bigger application install. So the only way to remove these is to actually remove the main app that they're tied to. Then I've got one application that has a preference pane extension, and that's Switch ResX, which I use to change my monitor resolutions for recording. Now, Files lets you look at where you potentially have some bloat on your system through the space lens. And this gives you a really good way of looking at how much data is on your device. You can choose what you're going to analyze here. I'm going to stick with the whole drive, I think. And then when you click scan, it builds up your storage map. And this is how the sizing looks. You've got a linear list on the left and then a visual bubble list on the right. And they're both interactive, of course, and tied to each other. So as I hover over the bubbles, then their entries on the left are highlighted. And if I go into them on the left, then the bubbles change. So here I can see my DevonThink databases and their sizes. And I've got some bubbles just poking out in this outer layer here that can help me come back. You can right click on any folder or file in here from either view. And this will give you options depending on what it is that you're right clicking. And then you can also navigate back using this breadcrumb bar at the top. Okay, next into large and old files. And this is the same as before when it comes to choosing where you want to scan. And any files that are considered sizable and potentially haven't been accessed in a while are listed. So on the left here, they're split by file type. So I can see my movie files here. And they're also split by size. So we've got huge, which is predominantly my DevonThink databases, and they're going to be staying. And then small. And then down here, we can see when they were last accessed. So if I come up to movies, I'll just select a couple over here on the right. And then if I click this drop down next to the remove button, I can remove immediately, securely, move it to trash or to a different folder. But I'll click remove and they're gone. And finally, on the left, we have the shredder. And this is where you can securely delete files by selecting them from the Finder window that pops up. And any files that are deleted in this way are going to remove all digital footprints from your system, making them completely irrecoverable. Let's take a look at some settings that you may want to tweak in preferences. So in the scanning section here, you might want to remove some items from the Smart Scan in order to be able to speed it up. Just uncheck anything here that you don't think you're going to want. Then into notifications, and by default, everything is on, which can make the application a little bit noisy. So if you want reminders for running the Smart Scan, then you can set the frequency here, but you can also uncheck it to stop those reminders coming up. I do like having warnings when the disk space is low, and when maybe I'm low on something like free RAM, but you're probably going to want to clear a couple of these notifications if you're getting disturbed a little bit too often. Then under menu, there is a very good menu bar app for CleanMyMac. It's probably one of the best that I've seen. If I just quickly click on it to show you it, we can see we've got a lot of information to see here at a glance. Now you can change some of the bits in there that appear. So if you want to see recommendations, then show them and then come up to the menu bar. And you can see them along the top there. There's some quick links to some recommended actions you can take. And then other options that we have are to show a Dropbox account that we can link to, and also to show any external drives that you've got connected. But if I just click the menu bar once more, it's very much like an application within an application because you can click these tiles. So this disk one here, as well as sizing info, which you can look at here. You've got options here to see your disk health and even your disk temperature. I can see down here the Dropbox account that I need to connect to. And if I come across, take a look at memory, I can see the current utilization, how much scope there is for more work to be done by the pressure tile, and also the top consumers down here. And Logibolt, I keep meaning to uninstall that, and I will do after this, but let's just stop it running here. So that is CleanMy Mac X from MacPaw, and an overview as to why I love it and it's part of my toolkit. And for more tips and tricks on apps and workflows for your Apple devices, please like and subscribe, and more will be coming your way. Stay safe, and I'll be seeing you again soon.